Hello, I won't make this too long. I'll try and get straight to the point. There was a story that broke yesterday, which is I find very unsettling, and that is that a Labour MP, Carl Sargeant, who was a Welsh Labour MP and a minister in the devolved Welsh government, took his own life. He was only 49. This came after allegations that he had sexually harassed several women. Um, the political fallout from this that's happening now in the United Kingdom is obviously coming on from the huge furore in Washington, excuse me, in Hollywood over the sexual harassment claims and rape claims going on there. Now, let me be clear: the fact that Mr. Sargent took his own life doesn't indicate guilt or innocence. Suicide could be represented by a guilty conscience, or it could be represented by someone in despair because they're not being treated fairly. Based on what we know, it seems to be the latter. Um, and that is that apparently three women had made claims about Mr. Sargent, but he hadn't even been allowed to hear the details of these claims. This has caused quite a big political scandal in Wales, with calls on the First Minister Carl Jones to resign over his handling of it. Um, it just seems grossly unfair that this man wasn't even allowed to hear the details of what he was being accused of. I mean, to be told you're facing these, you're being dismissed because of these claims, but we're not going to tell you the nature of those claims. We're not going to tell you who the accusers are. We're not going to tell you anything. Seems incredibly unfair. And I have to say, I felt it would be only a matter of time before something like this happened, before one of the men being accused of these things cracked. And I think it is so important that we reiterate: accused does not mean guilty. It's worth pointing out that Carl Sargent had robustly denied the allegations. It's also worth pointing out that in his role as a public figure, he had been outspoken in standing up for women who were victims of domestic violence and other sorts of abuse. So I really hope that this case reiterates how important due process is. His family is obviously devastated, and there's been tributes pouring in across the board. Jeremy Corbyn called him a great defender for the working class. But I find it very disturbing. And this isn't the only case where someone hasn't been treated fairly and given due process. It seems every public man, whether he be a politician or a business person or an actor, any man who's in a semi prominent role or is famous, is now susceptible to what is really descending into hysteria. I mean, look at what's happening with Kevin Spacey because of the allegations made against him. I can't remember the name of the film, but apparently he's being entirely airbrushed from the film based on the allegations against him. Now, in the case of Spacey, he didn't entirely deny it. He said he couldn't remember that this young actor had come forward and said that when he was 14, Spacey abused him. Um, this is not to say that these men being accused are innocent, but it is to say that an allegation in itself is not a guilty verdict. It's just not. There have been examples of women who have lied through their teeth. And to me, this reiterates that when we have these sort of situations, there is not both people anonymous, or you make both, you name the accuser as well. At the moment, it's a situation where the accused is named and the accuser gets total anonymity, whether they're telling the truth or not. That seems grossly unfair. Uh, Clearly, there's been a problem going on with sexual harassment, but I think it was Anne Widdecombe said that this is now getting out of hand. That if you're a woman and you think that a compliment is sexual harassment, or maybe someone told a slightly off-color joke 15 years ago, I agree with her. I think it's getting out of hand. And she acknowledged that there is a real problem. She acknowledged that there are women who go through things that they shouldn't go through. But I just find it very disturbing. Carl Sargeant, will never know. To be quite honest, we'll never know now if he was guilty or innocent. But we do know that he didn't have a chance for a fair trial. Now, there will be some who say, "Oh, he was guilty and this was a card's way out," but I don't agree with that. I think this was a man under enormous pressure who felt he wasn't going to be treated fairly, and he done a desperate thing. And it's awful coming up to Christmas. As I understand, he had a family. So I find it very unsettling. And I will say to people who hate the Labour Party, put your politics aside. This has got nothing to do with party politics. At least it shouldn't. I would be saying the same thing if it was a Conservative MP who this had happened to. Um, I also feel deeply uncomfortable with somebody being punished over allegations, which seems to be the approach that film studios are now taking. Whether that is because they were accused of not doing enough, if that's their response, it's a wrong response. What they should do is show that they're taking the claim seriously. But to punish someone before they have been found guilty in a court of law is utterly wrong. I mean, are we now going to have a situation where every single Kevin Spacey film is is just erased from history? This guy is, he's an A-list actor. How's that even practically going to be done? I think the approach should be don't give him any further work, but don't until a trial, but don't punish him either. Just give him time to address this, to go to the court to face his due process, but to punish him before there's even been a verdict by airbrushing him from any film he could be in. This is very dangerous, and we need to be very, very wary of it. So let me know your thoughts. I feel very uneasy about the Carl Sargent case. And one last thing, I'm not gaining financially from this video. I think that would be wrong. So this is not a monetized video. Thanks for watching.